Could you survive inside the largest animal that's ever existed? Picture yourself engulfed in absolute darkness, surrounded by rushing water, inside a living cathedral of flesh and blood. For most of human history, this scenario lived only in mythology until one morning in 2021, when a lobster diver found himself trapped inside a whale's mouth and lived to tell the tale. But what happens in those crucial first moments inside a whale? Why can some species of whales swallow you whole while others can't? And most intriguingly, how long could a human actually survive in a whale's digestive system? In this episode of Imagine If, we're going to tackle these mind-bending questions. On a seemingly ordinary June morning in 2021, off the coast of Provincetown, Massachusetts, veteran lobster diver Michael Packard experienced something that sounds like fiction. During his second dive of the day, at about 45 feet below the surface, his world suddenly went dark. "I felt this huge bump and everything went dark," Packard later recalled. He initially thought he'd been attacked by a great white shark, but the absence of teeth and injuries made him realize the startling truth. He was inside a humpback whale's mouth. For approximately 30 to 40 seconds, Packard found himself in complete darkness, surrounded by water, desperately thinking about his wife and children. The whale, presumably as startled as Packard, began shaking its head violently. Then, in a stroke of incredible luck, the whale surfaced and ejected him. Contrary to popular belief, your first challenge wouldn't be avoiding stomach acid. It would be surviving the initial encounter. Modern whales that could theoretically swallow a human belong to two groups: toothed whales, like sperm whales, and baleen whales, like humpbacks and blue whales. In a baleen whale's mouth, you'd find yourself in a cathedral-like space filled with seawater and filtering baleen plates. The immediate danger would be disorientation and the risk of drowning rather than being crushed. The space is surprisingly roomy. A blue whale's mouth can hold up to 5,000 gallons of water, roughly the volume of a large swimming pool. One aspect often overlooked in this scenario is the psychological impact. The complete darkness, the disorienting movement, and the awareness of being inside a living creature would trigger intense panic responses. The human brain, evolved for terrestrial survival, would be facing a situation so far outside its normal experience that the psychological stress alone could be debilitating. Packard later described the experience as completely black and said his survival instincts kicked in immediately, though he admitted thinking, "This is how I'm going to die." Here's where our journey takes an interesting turn. Most whales couldn't actually swallow you whole. A humpback whale's esophagus is only about 15 inches in diameter, roughly the size of a dinner plate. Even the mighty blue whale, the largest animal ever known to exist, has a throat too small to swallow an adult human. The sperm whale is the only species that could theoretically swallow you whole, with a throat large enough to accommodate larger prey like giant squid. If you were swallowed by a sperm whale, you'd enter a complex digestive system evolved to process deep-sea creatures. The first stop would be the forestomach, a muscular sac that functions like a high-powered washing machine, breaking down food through powerful contractions. The environment would be highly acidic, with pH levels that could quickly cause chemical burns. The darkness would be absolute, and the pressure from muscular contractions would be intense. Throughout history, the idea of being swallowed by a whale has captured human imagination. The biblical story of Jonah and various folklore tales have perpetuated the notion that survival inside a whale is possible. However, the reality is quite different from these mythological accounts. The famous case of James Bartley, who allegedly survived in a sperm whale's stomach for 36 hours in 1891. What makes Packard's survival possible was the fundamental nature of how baleen whales feed. These giants use a technique called lunge feeding, where they open their mouths wide and engulf large volumes of water and prey. They then use their baleen plates to filter out small fish and krill while expelling the water. This process, while efficient for catching small prey, isn't designed for large objects, which explains why the whale quickly rejected Packard from its mouth. Packard's case, while extraordinary, isn't entirely unique. There have been other documented cases of whales accidentally mouthing humans, though most end quickly with the whale releasing the person. These incidents usually occur during feeding times, when whales are focused on schools of fish and may not immediately notice a human in their path. The key factor in survival is that these are almost always baleen whales, who are physically incapable of swallowing something as large as a human. Like, subscribe, and comment to fuel our journey into the unknown. Your support helps us create more mind-bending scientific journeys. Write in the comments which "what if" you would like to see next. The reality is far more sobering than mythology suggests. The combination of acidic environment, lack of oxygen, intense pressure, and total darkness would make survival virtually impossible beyond a few minutes. The human body isn't designed to withstand such extreme conditions. Packard's survival was possible precisely because he never entered the digestive system. He remained in the whale's mouth until being expelled. Perhaps the most valuable takeaway from this thought experiment and real-life encounters isn't about survival tactics inside a whale, but rather about the remarkable nature of these marine mammals. Whales have evolved sophisticated feeding mechanisms over millions of years, perfectly adapted to their ecological niches. Their ability to process tons of food daily, while being selective about what they actually swallow, is a testament to the precision of natural selection. The next time you're on the ocean, remember, while being swallowed by a whale remains firmly in the realm of extremely unlikely events, these magnificent creatures continue to surprise us with their complexity and the crucial role they play in our planet's health. They deserve our respect and protection, ensuring that future generations can continue to wonder about these giants of the deep.